So, morning folks. I want to talk to you guys this morning about the power of music over time, especially in critical times like we're in now. So I woke up this morning on TikTok, of course, trying to understand the application and just get better about using it for stuff. And one of the first things that popped up was music festivals. And I implore you to go, if you're on TikTok, just in the search bar, go type up music festivals. It is very interesting.
Stand up, fight back! Stand up, fight back!
It is showcasing something that is definitely as impactful as a music festival, but not a music festival. Lots of people there, a lot of support, and I of course noticed it was not on the mainstream news like that. And it's happening in, three major cities that I absolutely love. Chicago, I love it for the history. My wife and I love going. Also, DC. We love DC. It's a fantastic city. Never had any issues there either. And LA, which we love LA. Us folks down here from Atlanta, we all three of them cities, we everybody from there is good in. But when I see that, I thought it was really cool how those events were listed as music festivals, right? And it just really brought to mind the power of music and how we have used music, right, and song and lyrics as code. Black people have used all of this as code over time, and now, like it was in the 1800s, early 20th century, 19, all of that stuff, we're still doing it now, man, and it's awesome. But what it made me think about is the fact that we're witnessing music and art affect culture and defy censorship in real time. And that's the benefit of applications like TikTok and social media. We're able to see this in real time, right? I would have loved if there was something like that in the 1960s, right? To see what was actually going on, right? In addition to just books and the news accounts that we have, right? But like from people's first person point of view. But what it made me think about, of course, is music history, right? And the impact music has had on me. And I want to start there. As an African-American man, right? As an African-American man, there's a lot of different things that you're raised with. And raised to avoid, right? But as Black people, we as a culture have always been raised with song, right? And raised under the influence of song and dance and understood its impact in our culture. And we've been given the wonderful opportunity to learn it subconsciously, right? And every day in our song. As a musician, as an artist, I've always understood art as a way to express those things and document history. And I've understood that to be the same thing in music. But now more than ever, I'm so grateful that I've had that influence growing up in a medium. Let's start here in a number of different mediums. That really were started to identify with and confront those aspects of culture. And I want to start with the first, which was gospel, right? So, and before I get into gospel, the three categories and genres of music that I'm going to get into are gospel, blues, rock, and funk, right? And I'm going to show you guys a few artists, probably about 7 of them, that I just, not only do I have their vinyl records for, so I want to talk about that, but also understand how, talk to you guys about how they've influenced, right? So the first, and I'm not gonna lie, I am not a gospel fan in a traditional sense. I am not like a new age gospel fan, but what I do appreciate is the power of old school gospel, that deep song, that song that comes from here. And I'm going to start with this vinyl. So this was the West Oakland Gospel Choir from 1985. And the reason it's so important is my grandmama, Annie Jean, was a largely pivotal figure in this choir. But my grandmama is my reference point for gospel and the power of voice and song. I remember on Sunday mornings, man, when she was in the choir, her voice would just rain out over the sanctuary. And that moved me. You know, in the beginning of this video, I'm going to play a song. Me and my grandmama, like those folks, they would, I felt it in my bones, the message that they were singing, right? And they got that. They didn't have any kind of serious formal academic training. No, they got that from being in the church, right? Being, in the most pivotal times in American history, experiencing that, and then living in the South, right? So my reference point, honestly, for a lot of the songs that I write comes from here, this vinyl. And I mean, when I listen to this, it really does choke me up a lot of the times, hearing my grandmama's voice. So I want to start with gospel being the first musical genre that we're still witnessing is impacting our movements today. But I mean, that's a starting point, right? Then I'm gonna go to good old Muddy Waters. This vinyl, the best of Muddy Waters. Now this is we talking about blues, man. Like Muddy Waters, and I'll give you the specific song and how he confronted it. But Manish Boy, I'm a man. Like when he said that, you got to think about what the times were trying to do to tear down and extract from the black family, from black manhood, and to really beat us down, right? And Manish Boy and so many other of these songs on this vinyl rejected that, right? They were vehement rejections of what society and culture and the government was trying to do to wear away at our spirits and our souls. So you talk about, I mean, that the music that I write now is heavily influenced by Muddy Waters, right? And I'm glad that the idea of folk music and the genre, like all of these different iterations of folk music within the genre are coming back around. You've got Jesse Wells, right, on TikTok. I'm here showcasing lifestyle, doing art and things like that. You've got other artists that are really taking what they're experiencing in culture and talking about it in song. Just right now more than ever, Muddy Waters and his sense of black pride and masculinity and determination, right? From jobs, they were going to Chicago. We talk about cities impacted right now. I mean, the Chicago Blues. All of those guys were coming out of the Mississippi Delta, man. They were leaving something, and they were getting a lot of the same treatment as our immigrants now. And shout out to our very, very resilient populations here that help feed this good country. So my next is Nina Simone. Let's talk about Nina Simone. When we talk about strange fruit, forbidden fruit, we all know the song and how her voice just carries through, right? And how eerie it is, man. I mean, she was talking about violence, right? She was talking about segregation. She was talking about all of these things, racism, all of these concepts that, drove the communities and cultures in America. It drove hatred, right? And Nina Simone rang out over that. And I'm so glad to have this vinyl here and to listen to her voice in the studio and be inspired by that. We talk about the strength of women during the time, right? When women right now and are being, their rights are being infringed upon. Not just African Americans, not just Hispanics, but women, right, of all backgrounds. This album here is a testament, to what I think is, has the power, to move culture. We got, getting old. We got James Brown, who, we talk about funk music. James Brown got people up moving. James Brown taught us the power of song and dance. He not taught us, he reminded us of the power, pulling from, old blues musicians, rock, all of that stuff. But funk came in, and James Brown, coming out of the South, man, coming out of Georgia, was really, really, really pivotal in amplifying our voices. Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. Like, again, rejecting that oppression, rejecting, all of the powers that be that wanted to scare us off, oppression, all of that stuff, man. James Brown, it's just such a wonderful, wonderful privilege, blessing to have this vinyl. And again, listening to it in the studio and just to listen to it now, right? Listen to these times now. Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. Like that doesn't just now stay in the black community. That stays, that other people can listen to this and gain the same type of inspiration that we have from these albums here. We got Marvin Gaye, What's Going On? So when we talk about Marvin Gaye, the time that this was coming out, it was during the Vietnam War, which is a war that, we didn't need to be over there, we lost. And there were so many people still dealing with the ramifications of that war, right? And speaking out against it, right? Marvin Gaye was asking, what's really going on here? Like police brutality, the Vietnam War at the time, economic and social injustice. Marvin Gaye was confronting that in a way that still, like at the same time, the music felt good. It was confronting, but he gave us the power too. And again, all of these vinyls I inherited, man, from my granddaddy who lived during the time. And so it's awesome to see them come back around and come back into, what they were made for and their functionality, right? Like they're more than just art. They're pieces of empowerment. And of course, we got good old Jimi Hendrix, man. And Jimi Hendrix, of course, we all love him. This is my personal favorite Jimi Hendrix album, People, Hell, and Angels. But I really want to get to what's not on here is the Star Spangled Banner. But what I really want to talk about is how Jimi Hendrix, turned the Star Spangled Banner into his own version of abstract expressionism. And while so many people nowadays talk about, what's, legal and illegal to do to the flag and all of these things, Jimi Hendrix took our, national anthem, our song, and made it his own art. And it is one of the most memorable and notable pieces, of music history to this day. And so many people rejected it at the time. But Woodstock in and of itself was, it was a music festival, right? We go back to that. And Jimi Hendrix was speaking out against the Vietnam War, American violence, social and racial injustices. Like this album here, in addition to a lot of his work, just had those themes resonant through them. And of course, we pulling back from the blues, man. Blues, it addressed the problem. It identified the problem, right? And then Hendrix has the rock piece in there. Rock was a rebellion against the problems in society, right? And then we got funk too, right? Like, and I'm gonna talk about my last funk artist too. We were talking about James Brown, but Jimi Hendrix had it in there too. He inspired funk, but funk was, the rejection and the part of us that empowered us, right, against, the system. So we got Jimi Hendrix again. What a blessing. And then my last one, Prince, Sign of the Times, right? So Prince is another one that y'all have heard me talk about him a lot, but he has just really moved me since I was a child. Glad to have inherited this album here. But, Prince was talking about social decay, in this album. He was talking about drugs and drug overdose, back then. And then now we've got the fentanyl crisis going on. He was talking about AIDS, right? And he was talking about police violence and all of these things. Prince was actively invested in the news media, as hard as it was to hear it all the time. And he was making music to speak about it, but also inspire us. And he was, super conscious about what was going on. You talk about being woke, quote unquote. So that being said, folks, like I'm glad to have this piece. Glad to have all of them. Some of the vinyls newer, some of them older. Most of them older. I think, yeah. I only have one new vinyl, the Jimi Hendrix piece in there. Everything else was given to me from my granddaddy, and he bought them during the times that they came out. So what a blessing, man. But I say all that to say, man, stay inspired, stay making art, stay making music. Listen to Sade, that's what Andre 3000 said. And let's keep doing this thing, man. Let's stay in it. Thank y'all for listening, tuning in, subscribing to this channel. And we are going to catch y'all on the flip side. Go support our work. Come to Charleston, South Carolina, to Norton and Hodges on October 8th to our American Soul, American Soul show. We're covering themes like this, man, through the work. We're trying to redefine a better American experience, but what it truly means to be American right now. Okay. Thank y'all again, and we'll catch y'all next time.